That joke. Anyways, hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe. Yeah, real quick announcement. There's a new episode of Ring Lords that will be had or streamed on the 24th over on Dork Lord's channel. So this is also a video to market his stream that we're going to be having. He's of course hosting because he's awesome. So our book club of Lord of the Rings is continuing. Also, Dan and I are still reading the Agnar and Andreth story. It's just very dense. So we're reading that, and we're going to have a video hopefully out for next week for our Silmarillion podcast. It's only slowed down because we wanted to read Agnar and Andreth at a key point in the narrative, because this out to come out before Beren and Luthien, because this is in a way the direct prequel to the Beren and Luthien saga. So we got to read it all in order. And so we're going to have that out next week, I hope. And so this video is this week's Lord of the Rings video. So there will be 2 pieces of content next week. And of course, the Red Sonja book club podcast over on Brothers of Borehirrim will be continuing. Also, buy Crown of Blood, our new book. It's awesome. You're going to love it. You want it. You will buy it. That's me trying to hypnotize you. Anyways, it's better than this. I can tell you that much. And we've gotten a few reviews. They're in. They're awesome. And way better than this. The link will be in the description. Step aside, Galadriel. War of the Rohirrim will be the feminist story LOTR actually needed. Oh gosh. Feminism ruins everything. We all know this. This movie will introduce a new female protagonist, and she may be the best possible feminist icon. Sorry. I can't say it with a straight face. Tolkien's books were woefully short on prominent female characters. Sorry. With a select few, including Eowyn. Oh, don't forget Arwen. Don't forget Elrond's wife. Don't forget, because she does feature in the appendixes. She's actually an interesting character. You've got Rose, Gamgee. You've got, of course, Galadriel. And in the Silmarillion, you have Luthien. You have, well, of course, Haleth. You have Morwen is an interesting character. You've got Arathwen, I think it is, or Arathel, the mother of a certain trader. You have, you've got a lot of female characters. That Manway's wife, Varda. You got too many. So, actually, Tolkien, in my opinion, should have cut down on the female characters. We need less of them. Dial it back, bro. For this reason, recent screen adaptations have attempted to make some changes. Yeah, so we all hate it. Because this is essentially the equivalent of a kid who got his hands on his dad's handgun and running around going, "Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo!" That's the problem with this. And clearly they don't understand it. And yes, this is probably going to be the last video of this sort I make, because yeah, and I'm also going to skip through some of the reading because I'm not interested. I'm only doing this for spare content and because this gets a lot more views than everything else. And so this is good as a prelude to the book clubs continuing, which will be much funner. Probably get less views, but much funner. And much more earnest, I'm going to be honest. Early in the film's production, it was said that it would follow the war between Rohan's hand and the Dunlendings. While this is still true, it has since been revealed that it will center more on Helm's daughter. Sorry. Who was unnamed in Tolkien's version of the story, and should have remained unnamed. Sorry. Inner voice came out. Nobody wants this. Yeah, it'll focus more on her. Nobody wants this. This is a change that has everyone screaming in horror or whimpering. I'm doing the whimpering. The character will call on all female tribe of fighters for... What are they doing? There is no all-female... Okay. They've just simply excised, surgically removed all of the canon from this. Now, the thing about the canon is it is integral to a fantasy universe, to a mythological universe. And that's what Tolkien was building, a mythological universe of his own. And if you remove that, then, well, there is no universe anymore. It just becomes a propaganda tool. This is what this is, an engine for propaganda. And the thing about this engine for propaganda is that, let's be honest, it's more Soviet than the frickin' Soviet Union was. Because I've seen some Soviet Union movies. They're nowhere near as... they're not beating the point over your head as much. This is ridiculous. This is honestly really stupid. And honestly, they know it's stupid. They're not writers. You know who's a writer? Yeah. So... I could continue bashing this, reading this article. Instead, I'm going to say, let's take a look at who the untalented hack who wrote it was. Angel Shaw, because of course. Now, I'll actually say this, with all the gentility and love in my heart. The only women who should be working on this are over on Substack. And you can find them via my Warrior Wednesday and Sword and Saturday events that I host over on Substack via the Brothers Crin over there. And the female fantasy writers that are writing over there are quite talented. They're not like this hack. They're not like the hacks over at Amazon. And since this is just going to be propaganda and it's completely useless and worthless, I'm thinking I'm just going to talk to you for a minute about, the Crown of Blood. And the thing about Crown of Blood is that it has been getting some popular reviews, and I'm thinking I'm going to need to read to you, as soon as it finishes loading up, a book blurb, so that, you know, this isn't a total bust for everyone involved. And here's one blurb. The king is dead and the throne lies empty. Many vie for the crown, slaying any who stand between them and the power it grants. But can any survive the curse that plagues the kings of Caledonia? Pretty cool, right? A lot cooler than Rings of Power, War of the Rohirrim. It's more like War of the Borehirrim. But the reason I'm bashing so hard is that, honestly, as a writer, they're not even competition. It's not even a contest. I can write better on my worst day than they could on their best day. They're honestly untalented. They're a disgrace. And many of us writers of fantasy and mythological literature have long since longed to have the kind of backing and support that these scum have. So that's where I just have the view, why should I, every time I go to do a video like this, and I will keep doing them on second thought, because why not? Gets plenty of clicks. But I will use it to push my stuff, to tell you a new book blurb for my book, and I will be showcasing art and whatnot for The Crown of Blood, and pushing it forward, and discussing the characters from there, because honestly they are better characters than what you'll be seeing in these movies, really. So let's try character number 1, Mel Martin, from the first story in the Valley of the Dark River. He's king, or high king I should say, of the Khalids, and he is the legitimate successor of Constantine II, his natural cousin, and he is a man of a fiery temperament who goes on to lead the Khalids to disaster. Much like what Amazon's doing with this sort of content, and Simon Tolkien is doing with the Tolkien estate. Really, he's coming in the wings of a great man, much like Simon vis-a-vis Christopher, and he doesn't listen to a young boy's advice, much like Simon's situation is, where he's not listening to probably good advice from others, and he's not listening to the very young fans of Lord of the Rings, or even some of the old fans. And I say young because, Gen Y and Gen Z, a lot of us did grow up with Lord of the Rings, whether it's the movies or the novels. So the thing is, Mel Martin is not listening to the wise counsel of a much younger man, viewing it as beneath him. And then he decides to plunge to his doom. And the reason he plunges to his doom is because he thinks he's smarter than what he really is. But he gets outsmarted and out-encircled by his enemy. But it's what comes next that's so important, as, well, this causes a bit of a feud to break out within the kingdom between the one who tried to give him good counsel and also between his sons. But it also rips open a lot of unhealed wounds of sorts from the previous generation. And so you get a civil war. And that's why it's called The Crown of Blood. So, much better book or story, wouldn't you say, than War of the Borehirrim? Well, tell me in the comment section down below. And do check out the book. It'll be in the description. The link, I mean. And also my Substack will be there, and you can find some pretty good novels there. They're all being published serially over on Substack, and I put in a lot more love and care into them than these losers. So do check those out, and do remember to like and subscribe to this channel. And if you didn't like this video, still do all of that, because deep down you know I'm right and you want my Crown of Blood book. So until next time, toodles.